Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
What a good diamond. Kalanera Matasalim, Ginobin, Aquan, Betana, Kubar. Darin, Bellet Betana, no money, I'm so quick. Belladina Madarin, and Mashakal Pogu, Bertilaculium, Gabiliad, Kalam Fari, with the Sat Aban, not Nina Madarin. Darin, Ukum, Quay, Gidan, it is Sat Amam, and Jana Betalum, and Jana Beakul, Ujana Bealaju, Utalim, but no matter Mashakal Jama. When you're Darin, the Kabad Yemshi, the Kabad Yemshi, I can never Darin, Todd Betana Betasha, Leonardo Begiba Kadamat Betana, I'll be given Moya, I'll be told to cut. Albiamul, Yani Darino. When you buy that into a Budur Banat, Banana, a sharp, Bakuma. Wakuma Bukuma sharp. Lakin la Kuma Betana Kansan, Wazir Bata Malia, and Mother Dina Bri Betana, they my sharp, they are so hardly killer Wazir. Tap the Kulium, Gadin, the Korea Jama, Altamadar, the outer Badakalat, the Gil. You take it sharp village.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio Afternoon News. First, here are the headlines. Latest IMF projections and related economic data have ranked South Sudan among the African countries with the highest inflation rates in 2025, with price growth nearing 100%, caused by currency depreciation, import dependence, and prolonged instability. The United States has urged South Sudanese government to hold officials at all levels accountable for interfering with humanitarian assistance following the suspension of aid in parts of the country last week. And the governor of Central Equatorial State and the chief administrator of the Greater People Administrative Area have agreed to construct a fence at a Equator market along the Bor-Mogri Highway to enhance security and protect Equator traders. Tune in for these stories and more coming to you in the news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal. Now the news in detail. Latest IMF projections and related economic data have ranked South Sudan among the African countries with the highest inflation rates in 2025, with price growth nearing 100%, caused by currency depreciation, import dependence, and prolonged instability. Despite a broader easing of global inflation pressures, South Sudan's economy remained under intense stress, making it one of 5 African nations to place among the top 10 countries globally with the highest inflation last year. The country's inflation surge reflects deep-seated structural weaknesses, limited domestic production, and persistent conflict that continues to undermine confidence in the local currency. Globally, inflation moderated to an average of 4.2% in 2025, performing better than money analysts had expected despite trade tensions and supply chain disruptions. In the United States, inflation declined to around 2.7%, while the International Monetary Fund projects global inflation could fall further to 3.7% in 2026, supported by softer price growth in China and subdued inflation across much of Europe. Alongside South Sudan, Zimbabwe, Sudan, Burundi, and Malawi also recorded some of the continent's steepest price increase in 2025, driven by currency instability, fiscal imbalances, food insecurity, and ongoing political or security challenges. Zimbabwe's inflation was fueled by long-standing monetary instability and struggles to restore confidence in its currency. Sudan's economy, battered by civil conflict and fiscal distress, saw rising prices erode household purchasing power. In Burundi, chronic fiscal pressures and food shortages pushed inflation higher, while Malawi continued to grapple with inflation above 20%, intensifying social and economic pressures. In contrast, other major African economies, including Nigeria, Angola, Egypt, Ghana, and Zimbabwe, also experienced elevated inflation, though at comparatively lower levels. In these countries, foreign exchange volatility, rising import cost, and structural bottlenecks remained key drivers of price increases. Collectively, the data highlights the uneven inflation landscape across Africa in 2025, where several economies struggled with acute cost of living pressures, even as much as of the world moved toward price stability. For South Sudan, the figures point out to an urgent need for macroeconomic stabilization, improved governance, and long-term structural reforms to curb inflation and restore economic confidence. The United States has urged the South Sudanese government to hold officials at all levels accountable for interfering with humanitarian assistance following the suspension of aid in parts of the country last week. U.S. Ambassador to South Sudan, Michael J. Hadler, stated this following a meeting with senior presidential advisor Wol Mapal on Tuesday. The meeting focused on concerns over the delivery of aid and challenges facing humanitarian agencies operating in the country. Ambassador Hadler confirmed the suspension of U.S. aid in Ayod County of Jonglei State and said a review of assistance in western Bahar al-Ghazali State is ongoing. Speaking on the state-owned TV SSBC last evening, Ambassador Hadler said the U.S. government called on the transitional government to ensure that aid reaches those in need without obstruction.
U.S. assistance in Ayod County, Jonglei State, and are reviewing our assistance in western Bahr el-Ghazal State. We call on the transitional government to hold officials at all levels who interfere with assistance accountable.
Speaking after the meeting, Wol Mapal said Ambassador Hadler had raised concerns about non-accountability, corruption and theft of relief supplies in South Sudan. Duke said he reassured the ambassador of the government's commitment to addressing the challenges facing humanitarian agencies.
It expresses the concern of the American government on the state of affairs in South Sudan. All that he has mentioned about the non-accountability for anything that went on, the corruption, the theft of the relief properties being done by who and who, the government must hold these people accountable. Accountability is necessary. I've told him that we have taken note of the concern of the American government and we'll do our level best.
A South Sudanese Australian footballer and international advocate Nelly Javio has appealed to the United States to lift its visa travel ban on South Sudan during a high-level meeting in Washington. According to a statement seen by iReader, Yo met on 9th January with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and David Bailey, a senior advisor to President Donald Trump. During the talks, Yo urged the U.S. administration to immediately remove the travel restrictions, saying renewed diplomatic engagement is key to promoting peace, stability and economic cooperation and long-term development in South Sudan. He stressed that stronger ties between Juba and Washington would help support regional security, humanitarian response efforts and democratic process. In response, Secretary of State Marco Rubio welcomed the engagement and said the new year presents a new opportunity for the two countries to strengthen bilateral relations. The statement read, and I quote, "The new year offers a fresh opportunity for both nations to work hand in hand toward a brighter, more peaceful and more successful South Sudan." End quote. The meeting comes amid growing international focus on South Sudan's future and the role of diplomacy in advancing peace, partnership and prosperity. This is iRadio News. The governor of Central Equatorial State and the chief administrator of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area have agreed to construct a fence at a cattle market along the Bor-Mugri Highway to enhance security and protect cattle traders. The two leaders also agreed that cattle traders coming to the Mugri market will be formally registered to help identify genuine traders and prevent criminals from exploiting the business activities. The resolve on Tuesday followed a meeting of heads of security organs chaired by the Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Tut Gadluak. Speaking after the meeting, Central Equatorial State Governor Emmanuel Adil said the planned fence will enhance security and ensure the safety of cattle traders operating in the area. He added that the measures will regulate access to the market, prevent disorder, and create a secure environment for traders.
Is to enhance security between Greater Pibor and Central Equatorial State. All of you are aware that we have a very big number of traders who normally bring cattle for the market in Juba, and they have been experiencing some challenges. So we extensively discussed this, how we can better improve on this business so that they are protected as they come to Juba and also they safely go back. I've agreed on a number of security strategies which I want to tell our people to cooperate, but more important is that we will have to have the auctioning place be fenced so that it's safe for our traders, and then they have to adhere also to the rules and regulations and the general public for us to do this business orderly.
For his part, the Chief Administrator of the Greater Pibor Administrative Area, Gola Boyoy, said the Mogri cattle market is a key business hub that requires strengthened security measures. He noted that fencing the market will improve organization and help distinguish legitimate traders from individuals who often cause insecurity.
It is a continuation of our previous meeting. We focus on how to enhance security in that particular area, because that area is a hub of different states. We have Central Equatoria, Eastern Equatoria, Jongole, and Greater Pibor. And there's been a lot of insecurity in the area in terms of attacking the cattle traders and also road ambushes. So for us to agree on how to put some security measures to deter all the criminal activities, we have resolved that there must be a fence whereby our traders who are coming from Greater Pibor administrative area will be clearly registered from Pibor, and when they arrive here they will arrive with their names clearly registered, and so that we differentiate between the criminals who always come and want to use the situation to commit crimes. So this is one of the resolution that we have resolved. And also the security organ also have agreed to take some measures in terms of providing security and protection for the traders and also for the people who are living in the area, because we also have host community.
Both leaders were speaking on the state-owned TV SSBC last evening. This is iRadio News. The governor of Jonglei State, Ria Gai Cook, has established 3 additional payams in Bor County, raising the total number of the administrative units in the county to 8. Governor Cook created the new payams through a gubernatorial decree issued on Tuesday evening. According to sources who confirmed the information to iRadio, the newly established payams Harabi Payam, Bor Center Payam, and Kaitong Payam. Bor County, one of the 9 counties in Jonglei State, previously had 5 payams, including Jale, Baidit, Makwaj, Anyidi, and Kolnyang. Since assuming office, Governor Cook has overseen the creation of new administrative units in several parts of the state. Last year, he established Pawoy Payam in Twitch East County and Kadiang Payam in Duke County. In Ayot County, the governor also created what he described as a sub-county in Ayot North. In addition, several bombers, the smallest administrative units in the local government system, have been created across different counties in the state. And now to the regional international stories. Here is Helen Samuel.
Now let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines in the international arena. More than 200 suspected members of an armed criminal gang in central Nigeria have been killed in an ongoing operation, an official has told the BBC. The large-scale multi-agency offensive started on Saturday and had also led to arrests, the media officer for the Kogi state government said, without specifying a number. Footage shared with the BBC by the Kogi police, filmed from a helicopter, shows flames raging from one settlement in a densely forested area. For years, members of criminal gangs known locally as bandits have carried out killings and kidnappings for ransom, mainly targeting those in the northwest, but they have been moving to other parts of the country more recently. Elsewhere, at least 28 people have died and 64 others left injured after a construction crane fell onto a moving train in northeastern Thailand. The crane derailed the train and crushed some of its carriages, one of which caught fire. Official records say some 196 passengers had been on board the train when the accident occurred at around 9 local time. Rescuers later managed to fully evacuate all passengers, and many of the wounded were transferred to hospitals in the region. The government has ordered an investigation into the incident, which comes after a series of other fatal accidents blamed on safety lapses. And finally, President Donald Trump says the U.S. will take very strong action against Iran if it executes protesters, after earlier telling Iranians help is on the way. It comes as relatives of 26-year-old Irfan Soitani, who was detained last week, tells BBC Persian he is due to be executed today. More than 2,400 anti-government demonstrators have been killed in a violent crackdown by Iranian authorities, according to a US-based rights group. Those are some of the stories making headlines across the globe.
Thank you, Alan Sambal, for the regional and international stories. And to the world of sport, here is Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Wol Mapal. In the world of sports, the Moroccan national team will be seeking a place in the final of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations at the Prince Maule Abdallah Stadium in the Moroccan capital, Rabat, where they will host Nigeria in front of their home fans. The Nigerian team held its final training session ahead of the Morocco clash, determined to continue its strong performances and snag the golden ticket to the final. The Morocco vs Nigeria Africa Cup of Nations semi-final match will be broadcast live today, Wednesday at 10 p.m. South Sudan time. Senegal head coach Pape Thiaw said that their opponent Egypt in the Morocco 2025 Africa Cup of Nations semi-final is the best team considering their record number of continental titles, adding that his side will approach the match with the same style of play. Team captain Kalidou Koulibaly said they will try to create problems in the Egyptian defense, just as they have done in previous encounters. Meanwhile, Egypt head coach Hossam Hassan said Senegal is not a bogey team for his side ahead of their semi-final clash today. Senegal defeated Egypt on penalties to win the Africa Cup of Nations held in early 2022 and also beat them to qualify for the World Cup that took place in Qatar the same year. The match will kick off at 7 p.m. Elsewhere, Manchester City took the upper hand against host Newcastle United with a 2-0 win on Tuesday at St James Park in the first leg of the English Premier Capital semi-final. Antoine Semenyo opened the scoring for City in the 53rd minute before Ryan Cherki doubled the lead for the visitors in the 98th minute. The result puts the citizens in a strong position to reach the final of the domestic competition. Marseille booked their place in the round of 16 of the French Cup with a stunning 9-0 victory over host Bayeux on Tuesday in the round of 32. The southern side faced little difficulty in overcoming Bayeux, who play the amateur division. The goals for Marseille were scored by England's Angel Gomes, 13th, Ivory Coast Hamed Junior Traore, 19th, England's Mason Greenwood, 27th, 49th and 90th minute. Algeria's Amani Gaouri, 32nd and 55th, and England's Egan Raleigh, 80th, and Neil Maupay, 86th minute. That's all making headlines in the world of sports. Back to you, Wol Mapal.
word of thanks, Ella Subamemo, for the sport update. And here brings us to the end of our stories this afternoon. But first, let's have a quick recap of our headlines once again. Latest IMF projections and related economic data have ranked South Sudan among the African countries with the highest inflation rates in 2025, with price growth nearing 100% caused by currency depreciation, import dependence and prolonged instability. The United States has urged South Sudan's government to hold officials at all levels accountable for interfering with humanitarian assistance following the suspension of aid in parts of the country last week. And finally, the governor of Central Equatorial State and the chief administrator of the Greater Peabody Administrative Area have agreed to construct a fence at a cattle market along the Bor-Mogri Highway to enhance security and protect cattle traders. That is the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It is our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to our